AUSA Hagen Scotton, former clerk for John Roberts, really put some mustard, on his resignation letter. But why? Nice one, white boy. Thank you. It's a deep cut for any hip hop heads in the community, you know? You're literally not supposed to laminate it, lol. Did I say drop it or did I say drop it? You think being annoying is virtuous? You think you're getting into the kingdom of heaven, which is Chinese? I have received correspondence indicating that I refuse your order to move to dismiss the indictment of Eric Adams without prejudice, subject to certain conditions. I don't know how much of a difference this makes. I've never been that concerned about, like, you know, spicy resignation letters because it feels like they're only meant to be the last They don't really do anything. I don't know. Though we will always take them at face value for the worst statement they make. What else can you do with a liar? Right? Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Elon, Trump. They yap. They say this, they say that. They lie all the time. It doesn't matter anyway. The insecurity of the statements is what's, like, going to be remembered most by our NATO allies. You know? They don't want their primary beneficiary, their primary benefactor to be dancing around with this bullshit. They'll walk it back and they'll walk back the walk back over and over and over. They're burning through people pretty fast now. After Sassoon refused/resigned, the next two people, heads of public integrity section and the criminal division, also refused/resigned. This all just happened. And these are all acting, so they're people the Trump crew chose. Why would people chosen by the Trump crew have a problem with dropping the case on Eric Adams? Because he's a Democrat? Because he's black? They were chosen by the Trump crew. Fed Soc nerds. So you're telling me these people are still have, like, a tenuous grasp on reality? They're not, like, ultra MAGA-ites? These people might, like, have a tiny semblance of decency, a scrap of procedural integrity left in them, maybe. That's my understanding. They're up to 7 resigned? How? That's so many! Not one of the 7 they've chosen. They're just gonna. This is gonna be like the real federal defunding program. It's not even gonna be Doge. It's just they're gonna, like, run down it's like a slinky going down a staircase. You should read that letter. Fine, I'll read the letter. I have received correspondence indicating that I refused your order to move to dismiss the indictment against Eric Adams without prejudice, subject to certain conditions, including the express possibility of reinstatement of the indictment. That is not exactly correct. The U.S. Attorney, Daniel R. Sassoon, never asked me to file such a motion, and I therefore never had an opportunity to refuse, but I am entirely in agreement with her decision not to do so for the reasons stated in her February 12, 2025 letter to the Attorney General. In short, the first justification for the motion, that Damian Williams' role in the case somehow tainted a valid indictment supported by ample evidence and pursued under 4 different U.S. attorneys, is so weak as to be transparently pretextual. The second justification is worse. No system of ordered liberty can allow the government to use the carrot of dismissing charges, or the stick of threatening to bring them again, to induce an elected official to support its policy objectives. There is a tradition in public service of resigning in a last-ditch effort to head off a serious mistake. Some of you will view the mistake you are committing here in the light of their generally negative views of the new administration. I do not share those views. I can even understand how a chief executive whose background is in business and politics might see the contemplated dismissal with leverage as a good, if distasteful, deal. But any assistant U.S. attorney would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials, in this way. If no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, then I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion. But it was never going to be me. Please consider this my resignation. It has been an honor to serve as a prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. It was a solid bit. Too bad the 8th one will probably accept the order, right?
This woman, this acting U.S. attorney, Danielle Sassoon, was a conservative, is a conservative. She clerked for Scalia. She's a member of the Federalist Society. This is not her being a liberal activist prosecutor. Tell us about what kind of statement her resignation makes. Do you think not to...
Masagui, you are correct. It is funny that the Federalist Society is now woke. Like, the current administration is so insane and so obviously corrupt that the Federalist Society nerds are like, well, hold on now, okay? Like, I thought we were bringing about fascism in, like, a textual, legal, you know, like, procedural by the books manner, okay? You just seem to be winging it. Aren't they just neocons? No, the Federalist Society? No, they're beyond neocons. Just the current MAGA administration is insanely beyond insane. Like basically, like, the Federalist Society are people who meet at the intersection of being fascists, but also are politically and legally educated enough to have an interest in doing things procedurally. You know? Yeah, they're the I want the trains to run on time fascists, basically. They're the people who believe the things they say they believe, if that makes any sense. Like, if they're monsters, but if you talk to them about what they believe, they will explain to you, like, the need for, you know, like, the Christian hegemon, like, you know, legal authority, police have infinite power, blah, blah, blah. Like, they'll explain that to you. They're not the same kind of, like, insane, flippant, you know, will do literally anything, no matter how corrupt or pretextually invalid or whatever else. It's not the Heritage Foundation. It's not Project 2025.
You mentioned the people in the public integrity section of DOJ.
Well, Jake, these resignations were courageous and necessary moves. It was the only right and principled and ethical move by all of them. All of them were faced with really a prosecutor's nightmare scenario. They were given a direct order from the DOJ bosses to dismiss a perfectly legitimate indictment before it ever saw a trial jury for purely, overtly political reasons. If we look back a few days to Emil Bove's instruction to dismiss the case, that letter is a crazy document. It is completely political. It is explicitly political. It says, the reason I'm ordering you to dismiss this case has nothing to do with the merits of the case, nothing to do with the evidence, but because Eric Adams essentially...
The Sassoon letter is so good, you should read it. Masagua, you've been here long enough. This is 8 pages long in single space. I am not dedicating 40 minutes of stream to reading this out loud, so at the end we can all go, wow, that was a nice letter from a member of the Federalist Society. She sure read them the Riot Act.
To be freed up to pursue Donald Trump's immigration agenda. So good for Danielle Sassoon, good for the other DOJ prosecutors. They did the right thing. They took a stand here.
So there were a lot of concerns that the original case against Mayor Adams was dropped for political reasons. And let's be frank here, it's not just about their desire for him to carry out the anti-illegal immigration agenda in New York. Mayor Adams has been very explicitly wooing Donald Trump. And now multiple resignations are linked to this decision from the Justice Department. Do you think the actions of Emil Bove are over the line?
100%. I think they're over the line. I think they're political, and I think they're wrong. And Jake, as you said, Eric Adams has been angling for this type of treatment. We thought maybe it would be a pardon for months now. I will tell you, in the SDNY circles that I sort of dwell in, people have been rolling their eyes at this for a long time, saying, oh, he's definitely going to get out of this. Somehow he'll get a pardon. But the way this all happened makes it even worse.
Yeah, it's literally just a competency thing, because if they wanted to, they could have just quietly dropped the case over a million different reasons, right? Like, if the DOJ under Pam Bondi wanted to lay off the case as a way of incentivizing Eric Adams to kowtow to Trump's administration, they could have done it, like, responsibly. I'm saying that with air quotes, you know, by being a little bit less obvious with it. But they were so obvious with it being a quid pro quo, you know? Here's the timeline. In December, Donald J. Trump said he would consider pardoning Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams' lawyers asked the White House if Mr. Trump would pardon the mayor, who had not yet faced trial. A week later, Emil Bove III, Mr. Trump's former criminal defense lawyer, who is now the Justice Department's acting number 2 official, called Mr. Adams' lawyer. He said he wanted to talk about the possibility of dismissing the case. Mr. Bove then sent a memo to the Southern District of New York ordering prosecutors to dismiss the charges against Mr. Adams. The interim U.S. Attorney for the Southern District, Daniel R. Sassoon, resigned rather than obey Mr. Bove's letter. Mr. Bove referred the case to the Justice Department's Public Integrity Section in Washington. The 2 men in charge of that unit, Kevin O'Driscoll and John Keller, resigned. Hours later, 3 more lawyers in the Public Integrity Section resigned. Maybe you shouldn't have gone with the Public Integrity Section, which you'd think might have people a little more, you know what I mean? A little more unwilling. The next morning, the lead prosecutor in the case, Hagan Scotton, announced his resignation. That's the letter that we watched. People that believe in law. Yeah. Tom Homan basically admits to a quid pro quo on Fox and Friends. No, like, just no hesitance, you know?
Doesn't come through.
You're up early anyway.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City, and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
yeah, that's pretty straightforward. They're all just grinning and laughing. Oh yeah, it's Fox and Friends. They're nightmarishly evil. Yeah. It's because they think they're untouchable. Yeah, well, I mean, and they are. They've proven that. Yeah, the Democrats are absolutely dickless. Yeah, they are. There will be no consequences to this. All of these people in a sane society, they would be put in a prison deep. They would build a new prison just to fill with administration officials. But no, they're untouchable. None of these people will be punished in our lifetimes. Okay, the most we can hope for is to move past. In a sane society, though, like they would, the criminal prosecution of everyone engaging in this overtly treasonous behavior would be used to set an example for the next 2 centuries. Imagine donating 300 and the streamer doesn't even acknowledge it. Why are you guys so weird? I read donos at the end of stream. Why are you all so weird? I'm reading stuff. Why are you all annoying? Who made you annoying? Why are you like this? What's wrong with your parents? Thank you, Unknown Anomaly. I'm very sorry that your first acknowledgement of the very kind dono that you sent had to be forced out by people in chat being annoying. I'll read donos soon. Trump border czar warns New York Mayor Eric Adams not to violate agreement as DOJ orders dismissals of case against him. Like, it's just so... The fact that it's so widespread, that it's so known, that even Tom Homan is just outward, like, just saying it. Just flat out, like, no pretext. Just like, oh yeah, we have an agreement. We drop the case against you for corruption and you do what we say. And the Democrats still won't criticize him. Remember what Hakeem Jeffries said? We're not going to comment on that case. We'll let the New York people decide who gets to be the mayor or whatever. I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. And I do. Hopefully the people of New York do boot him. I would love it if they could give me a reason to believe in them. Sometimes I wonder, though, if it's not also the voters. No, I do think that American voters are uniquely bad. I think that American voters have been taught to believe in nothing in a way that exceeds. Like, I did a rant about this recently, about America having no real national pride, like that Americans don't believe in anything except for their petty treats from China. The other countries are willing to, like, the people of other countries have demonstrated that they are willing to endure personal hardship in like, for a principled reason. They're like willing to believe in something. It seems like America and the UK, those are the only countries that I've seen where it seems like their population uniquely believes in like nothing but inertia. Canada has been massively shifted against America due to national insult, you know? But with America, like nothing has any effect on anything. The only thing that seems to matter is like the blanketing of, you know, the like infinitely thick blanket of propaganda that you're immersed in whatever like moment of the week. It's just remarkable for a country that's so immersed in political language to also be completely numb to politics, though I guess maybe that makes a lot of sense. That's also Protestantism. Well, yeah, the Protestants are horrible in general, so we'll just take that, you know. I just can't get over it, man. The fact they both went on Fox and Friends together.
Mr. Mayor, from your perspective, how did this meeting go? Why was it necessary?
Good. I think that, and Tom could speak for himself, I think he had a real level of frustration, and he was trying to figure out, hey, what's going on, Eric? What is happening? And we were able to get in the room and really articulate what are my powers, what are my authorities, and what are some of the things that we need to legislatively address that is preventing us from doing what we want to do, and that is getting dangerous people off our streets.
Right, and Tom Homan, as you know, Mayor, a couple days ago said he was angry at you in New York City because it sounds like last time you guys got together over at Gracie Mansion, you probably said some stuff.
Why doesn't he switch to Republican? Because if he switched to Republican, he wouldn't win in the upcoming New York City mayoral elections. That's the literal only reason. The mayor of New York City is determined by who wins the Democratic primary. A Republican has no shot against them. So he's a dino. He's only staying a Democrat, so he's eligible to run in the Dem primary.
Maybe we like to do this and that. And I think Mr. Homan, and Tom, you could start with this. You were frustrated that he wasn't doing enough. He wasn't keeping up his end of the deal.
Well, look, you know, I've been on the network for 4 years, and I've called the mayor out many times for not stepping up when it comes to public safety.
God, he looks like such a bitch here, too. You're the mayor of New York City. You're so powerful. You're more powerful than almost any governor. And you're just sitting here on Fox and Friends getting talked down to by this Neanderthal just because you're a corrupt asshole whose, like, pardon is conditional to you behaving and being a good little dog. It's so embarrassing, man.
But I tell you, when I sat down with him, I saw the cop in him. And he really
Right.
does want to do the right thing because he is a cop. He's a lifelong cop. And so he wants to help take public safety threats off the streets in New York, make New York safer. He also wants to help find these missing children. We got 300,000 missing children. That many of them are here in this city. We know that. We got to find them. And we'll be working with his intelligence division, his officers, to save these children because many of these children are in forced sex trafficking. Many are in forced labor. We need to save them. And I think everybody can agree to that. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on.
Yeah, and people want to hijack this narrative and turn it into a political narrative where we're saying we need to have public safety. I requested the meeting. I reached out to his team and said, we want to sit down. This has been an issue I was talking about before.
Eric Adams discussed possible Republican primary run with GOP leader. If he did this, it would be a guaranteed loss. The mayor discussed options to run for re-election in the Republican contest as recently as Monday. Asked for comment. He said he was running as a Democrat. Yeah. He has to run as a Democrat. Otherwise, he's guaranteed to lose. It's his only option. There's nothing else you can really do, you know?
For the election, spring of 2022. You look at these quotes over and over again. We need to go after these dangerous people in our street. And now I have someone that understands that narrative, and we are fighting together to get it done.
I know Tom has been on our network so many times saying he felt like ICE's hands were tied under the last administration. You've agreed to sign an executive order to open up an ICE office at Rikers.
Dude, look at how open these streets are under congestion pricing, by the way. I assume this area is affected by it. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass here, but I don't know. That's a lot of street movement for New York City.
Island so that these dangerous criminals that are here illegally can be deported. Tell the folks at home, because they'll hear this, they'll say, oh, they're going to come after me next. You said these are the worst of the worst. So who is at Rikers Island that will be deported? What have they done?
And you bring in 2 points where...
How frustrated are they that they can't fully have your back, be able to tell them exactly where these guys are, be able to go into these raids with you?
Oh, they're frustrated. I mean, the NYPD wants to protect their streets too, and they want to enforce the law, and they want to collaborate with us. I mean, I don't think I met a single uniform in the 4 years I've been coming to the studio that sit out front. I shake everyone their hands. We had dinner with officers last night, not only from NYPD. We had dinner with officers from Newark and from Philadelphia. We had a whole table full of officers that want to do the right thing. They want to collaborate with us. But I think yesterday's meeting, I came to New York City, I wasn't going to leave out nothing.
Right.
I did the last time, and I told them I'm not leaving until I got something. And we're back into Rikers, that's huge. But we got other things we're working on. So I'm hoping, and now I got him on the couch in front of millions of people. He can't back waving us now, right? So I think you're going to see things move in the right direction. I really truly believe that.
And we don't want to give the false impression.
Pro quo, if he had anything to do with it, and he said he didn't.
No, I believe the president. And look,
yeah, nothing makes me madder than seeing this, except for knowing the Democrats aren't going to do anything about it. Do you have any idea how much the Democrats could be doing in here? The Democratic New York base of operations is massive and well-funded. They could literally be out here on the streets, like, screaming about how Eric Adams is corrupt, about how he's been bought by the Republicans. Trump's trying to let him go just to let ICE in the city. Eric Adams is going to let ICE deport your neighbors just so he can get off the hook for his obvious corruption. And they're just doing nothing. They have so much power here, and they're just doing nothing, just choosing to do nothing.
The president's doing a great job, and I want to say this. Look, I worked for 6 presidents. I think President Trump's the greatest president of my lifetime, and he proves it every day. Every day he proves to me why he is the greatest president of my lifetime. Border numbers are down over 90% in 3 weeks.
Think about that.
And you know, I worked hard at it. You know, Kristi Noem's working hard at it. You know, the chief of patrol is working hard at it. But it was President Trump's executive orders that was a game changer, right? And we already got over almost 16,000 people we arrested in the interior. That's 3 times more than Joe Biden had a year from now. But it's not enough. We got to do more. But President Trump's leadership, when you get 90% less people coming across the border, how many women aren't being raped by the cartels? How many children aren't drowning? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked in this country? President Trump's a game changer, and every day I'll say to
of your office space. They should have been with us saying we need to stop this flow, and they weren't. And so the shelters have to go somewhere.
Well, how long is the federal government going to be paying for the Roosevelt Hotel or any of these other sanctuary hotels?
We're continuing to close them down because of the job that we did. 180,000 out of our system. We closed down Floyd Bentonville.
So one at a time, you're closing them down?
No, more than one at a time. we have to close down as the population decrease. We put in place a 30 and 60-day plan. No one can stay longer than that.
Because your president that you were working for and what worked for his real.
So difficult to watch, dude.